and thanks for joining us today. You are watching On Deck with DeRo and Arch. I am Eric DeRosset, and alongside of me is Darren Archer. Again, we do a little sports show here. Just we talk about all things sports at all levels, and just sort of have a good time doing it. Very conversational. If you haven't tuned us in before, so thanks for joining us, Darren. How's it going today?
Going great. Weather's starting to cool down a little bit, starting to feel like fall, and hopefully we can keep it there. I'm tired of the heat.
Yeah, I am with you. I am with you. So it does. Now, true football players, I started to say it feels like football weather, or starting to. I think true football players, they think it feels like football weather more like November and
Right.
December. But softies like you and I, we think we think football weather is October, right? So,
Exactly.
hey, we're going to start with some college football. You and I have talked about this matchup for a couple weeks now. Mizzou and Alabama this weekend in Columbia. Uh, Big time matchup for Mizzou, obviously for Alabama too, but I think the stakes are higher in some ways for Mizzou. Kind of puts them on the map if they were to win this one. Rankings. I'm not sure which poll this is. The poll I saw was Alabama at 8, Mizzou at 14, somewhere
Right.
in there. So I saw the line on the game, and Alabama's favored by 3.5. I was maybe a little surprised by that. I didn't know that it would be that high. What are your thoughts there on Mizzou, Alabama?
Yeah, I agree, especially with it being played in Columbia. That surprises me a little bit with the line. Um, Mizzou, kind of crazy stat. They moved up 6 spots this week and didn't play a game.
Yeah,
So that
yeah,
that gives you an idea of some of the upsets that occurred last weekend, and there were several. So that's quite a jump for having not played a game and jumped 6 spots in the rankings in both polls. They're ranked 14th in the media poll and the coaches uh, poll as well. So should be a great game. Alabama is definitely finding their stride. They're playing very well right now. Mizzou, it will be interesting to see. They've had that extra week of preparation. It will be interesting to see how they come off the bye week. That's a 50-50
yeah,
uh, proposition there when you're coming off a bye week. Are your kids going to be have their ears pinned back and be hungry, or is it going to take them a snap or two or a series or two to get in the flow of things again? So should be a very good ball game. Mizzou will be packed, loud, and should be a great atmosphere for college football.
yeah. Uh, Two things crossed my mind there. I think you could expect a gadget play from Mizzou, just in terms of having an extra week of prep. Allows their coordinators and coaches to get creative on a play call or two. So I'll be interested to watch for that. Secondly, you already mentioned this, but Mizzou moved up in the rankings uh, on the backs of some others that lost. Penn State losing to UCLA, of course, that was all over the news. Texas losing to Florida. Iowa State, who had moved up in the rankings and were playing well, apparently they lost as well. So some big time upsets there, I would call them, and it allowed Mizzou to sort of vault up in the rankings. I think we can expect a lot more movement as the season progresses.
I think so too, and I think we're starting to see the effects of the NIL and the transfer rules. Um, there's a much more level playing field. I feel like, and some of the have-nots from the past, or some of the teams that were also Rands, hey, they're putting money where their mouth is and investing in these student athletes and their program, and are beginning to realize that money that they're putting into those student athletes and their programs are going to generate more money for their athletic program as a whole. And you're seeing it across the board, not just in football, but I feel like with a majority of your high major Division 1 programs, and if you go into basketball, let's say even your mid major Division 1 programs. there's a lot of program changes year in and year out, and I think we're starting to see the effects of that.
For sure. And here in just a moment, I've got an NIL story that I'm going to share with you and let our viewers in on that it's mind blowing the amount of money that is possible out there in regards to college athletics right now. So I'll hit that here in just a little bit. Uh, Good luck to the Mizzou Tigers this weekend.
Yeah,
Big game, and I think you and I would agree that's kind of a signature game for them if they can beat Alabama. Uh, we both think Mizzou is legitimate, and they have been for a couple of years now in regards to the resurgent. But I think this would put the nation on red alert about Mizzou if they were to beat Alabama. So be interesting to watch. Shifting gears, but staying in state, the Missouri State Bears. We're actually, you and I are recording this on a Wednesday night, and Missouri State is actually playing right now as we speak. They're playing Middle Tennessee State, and that game, I believe, is on ESPN2 tonight.
that's correct. That's part of their TV package through Conference USA, and at halftime they are actually up 16-10, and uh, be a great conference win for them if they can go off and finish this game off on the road.
Absolutely. Go Bears. Hopefully they can get it done tonight and even their conference record up at 1-1 as they go forward. Also in state, just some Division two just highlights that I'm going to touch on, some records in the MIAA. Northwest Missouri State, Central Missouri State are both 3-0 in their conference. Fort Hays State and Pitt State are both 3-1. So that appears, at least on paper, that will be another dogfight, just like any other year in that conference. Um, Featured matchup this weekend, in my opinion, out of that conference is Northwest Missouri State, and I believe they go to Warrensburg to play Central this weekend. So feel like that would be a good game and might go a long way in determining some conference standings in the end. So in the Great Lakes Valley Conference, our in-state teams there, their conference record, SBU is 2-1. Truman State 1-1. Uh, Lincoln is 0-3, and William Jewell is 0-3. So those teams are all right in mid-stride on their conference schedule. So I'm going to reference back to some NIL that you just talked about here a second ago. I read this today, don't have all the details. Stanford University, their football program just received, I saw the article today, so I don't know when it was confirmed, a $50 million gift from a donor who is a former player, an alumnus of Stanford University. And he is donating $50 million. His one of the criteria on this donation was that it would not be spent on a building or a facility project. Now, if I'm going to throw this your way. If you're reading between the lines on that, Mr. Archer, that $50 million is going to be designated for what in their football program?
For their athletes, their student athletes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and here's a question I have for you. How long is that sustainable in a football program?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's going to be Title IX issues come up.
Yeah.
Some of that money is going to have to be allocated towards women's sports. But let's say they get, at least by the time the dust settles, so to speak, and they get 3/4 to half of that money going into strictly NIL. How long is that? 37.5 or 25 million sustainable to pay student athletes?
It's going to go a whole lot quicker than you and I would ever fathom, right? I mean,
Right.
and hey, you have to believe that the residual effect of that is that all programs get a little better. Wouldn't you think? I mean, there's that chance that trickle down if some of that money is and you and I both know there is some Title IX implications with that. I mean, and should be. I mean, we're
Sure. Right.
not arguing that, but it seems to me that all programs or many programs could benefit from that designated donation.
Absolutely. And I mean, um, that, whether fortunately or unfortunately, that's what college athletics has become. And it's really about um, being able to lure those top tiered players, and those top tiered kids coming out of high school, top kids JUCO level, and top transfers into your program, and then re-recruiting them every year
Right.
to stay in your program. You do that with money.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's always been that way, sort of hush hush. And I'm not implying that every program was cheating, but
Right.
you might be luring them with facilities or other products that were above board, for sure. It's always been a race to see who could have the best and the shiniest toys, so to speak, at each university. And then there was always the undercurrent of athletes getting some special treatment otherwise. Now it's just public, and it's out there. So I wish I could be on the inside of that to really see how that money, like just to have an idea. Hey, how far does this go, and what
Sure.
does this look like? And hey, let's see the measuring sticks. Like how does that affect your program 2 months from now, 5 months from now, and so on. So
Absolutely. And recruiting in the past, kids were worried about where they were going to be playing, where they were going to be eating,
yeah,
and where they were going to lay their head. And that was the big part of recruiting. That's why a lot of your programs, and I'm talking basketball, football, have their separate housing, that, like Kentucky has housing that is in their practice or at their practice facility, to where they have access 24/7 to meals, to the basketball court, tutoring. Everything is centrally located. Really, the only reason they have reason to leave that building is to go to class.
right, right. Yeah, it's just completely different from what it
Yeah.
was. And then you and I mean, we're not saying one's better than the other. We've had that conversation often, but just a different day and time for sure.
Yep.
Um, I did reference Andrew Luck. He is actually has the title of general manager for Stanford football. So even that part of it's changed a little bit. Um, and I've worked on this line all day. You ready? I bet there's a lot of other Division I schools out there that wish they had a little more luck.
That's a lot better. The Indianapolis Colts, the year they were in line to draft Andrew Luck, it was called Suck for Luck. His
Yes.
game so that they would be able to draft him in the number one slot that year.
Yep. Anyway, thanks for playing along on that one. Like I say, worked on that one all day.
Right.
The gentleman's name is Bradford Freeman that is making this donation to Stanford football. And I didn't take the time to look up what his connections were in terms of his financial, how he came about that money, and even what his ties were to the university, other than he is an alumnus and played football there. So anyway, great news for Stanford. I'm sure that they are
Absolutely.
excited out there. So with that, I am going to take us to break. When we come back, we are going to discuss a little Major League Baseball. They are right in the heat of some playoff action, some really good series going on. And then we'll hit a few just interesting facts that I came up with. And then finally, we'll finish the show with our weekly segment that we call Hold'em or Fold'em. So if you would stick around, watch these commercials, and support the people that support us. And we'll be right back after a word from those folks.
There's a reason Chevy is called the heartbeat of America. The heartbeat's strong, steady, unwavering. Like the people who keep this country moving. Doing what they do best. Helping neighbors, pitching in, getting it done. For them, only America's most dependable truck will do. And every Chevy truck Like every Chevy driver, dependability comes standard.
Leaders know there's no guide to greatness. When everyone else says something can't be done, they know it only hasn't been done yet. True leaders weather the fiercest storms and look deep within themselves to rise above and help others find their way forward. At Great Southern Bank, we're proud to partner with visionaries that help raise the tide for all of us. And when you're ready to bring your vision to life, we'll be right behind you with award-winning support.
Things are a little tight for Terrence right now. But they won't be for long, because Central Bank makes it easier for customers like Terrence to dream bigger.
More room would be nice.
With mortgage solutions that can open the door to more space
That's what I'm talking about.
for his growing family.
Growing? Family?
Honey, guess what?
You got this, buddy.
And welcome back in. This is On Deck with DeRo and Arch. Thanks for joining us. If you missed segment one, please go back and check that out. We had some great college football conversation and some NIL discussion, and just had a good time talking about a few things regarding football. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit here to Major League Baseball. Some really good matchups right now, and if you're a fan that just kind of watches baseball during the playoffs or whatever, like this parity that we have right now, I don't think is a surprise to anyone that has followed baseball all summer long. As it currently stands, and this is up to date to them almost to the minute. Seattle Mariners and the Detroit Tigers. That series is tied 2-2. The Dodgers and Philadelphia, I believe that series is 2. The Dodgers are 2-0 over Philadelphia. I believe the Yankees and Toronto are playing as we speak. And in overall games, Toronto has a 2-1 advantage over the Yankees. And last but not least, the Milwaukee Brewers were up 2-0 yesterday on the Cubs, 2-0. And the Cubs got a victory today to bring that series to 2-1. Thoughts on the Cubs?
Survive and advance, live to see another day. And I'll tell you what, you got to give Milwaukee credit. They have just really upped their well, I shouldn't say they've even upped their game. They've been solid all year. And they're just built different than a lot of other teams. And they just keep the pressure on you from opening pitch till the last out. And they're going to be a tough out. They've got decent pitching. They're probably better than decent. You know, they've got some good starters. They've got a great bullpen, and have some live arms that can be tough to hit. So, and their bats are just incredible. I mean, you'll have three guys. Tonight they had 3 singles in a row, and luckily for the Cubs, they weren't able to push them across. But that's kind of their MO, is they will just single you to death, and then somebody will get up and hit a base clearing double or triple, and that's just how they go about beating you.
Yeah. And home field advantage for them in their park. I think Milwaukee's really, really good. And most major league teams obviously hold a distinct advantage, but to me, it's just really hard to win in Milwaukee. You and I are both fans of teams that play in the Central Division, so we're used to our teams having to go to Milwaukee, and you can almost just bank on it. If you go to Milwaukee for 3, you're going to lose 2 of those. If you go there for 4, you may lose 3. It's a tough place to play. So for me, and maybe it's just my connection to the NL Central, that matchup is most intriguing out of the 4 that I mentioned there. That Milwaukee Cubs series is really intriguing. We mentioned Toronto and the Yankees. Fans, for those of you that, if you didn't get a chance to see Aaron Judge, the ball he hit last night was incredible. 100 miles an hour. it was in on his hands like it was a ball. It was inside. It was out of the zone. And hey, he turned on that and hit it off the foul pole. To me, it was just evidence of how good he really is.
Incredible hit, and I think the foul pole still bent from from when
Yeah.
he hit it last night. But you talk about saving a season
Yes.
and marking his spot as one of the best postseason type players in the history of the game, especially with his bat. I think he made his mark last night.
Yeah. He's really, really good. I mean, he's just, and hey, to be called good in the Yankees sphere, you're doing something because they've had some guys right through the years
Yes.
going
Yes.
way back. So for him to even be thrown into that company is pretty impressive. So I mentioned the Dodgers. I'm going to come back to you with a Dodgers question here in our Hold'em or Fold'em segment. So
Okay.
I'm just give you a little hint on that for something for you to think about. A couple of facts here, just some things that I come across in the last few days. Bill Belichick, Coach Belichick, who I personally I like as a coach. I think you either like him or you completely don't. I don't think there's much middle ground with him. Uh, North Carolina, it's a struggle. I mean, it's a struggle, and hey, not only are they losing games, but it's the way they're losing games. I think that's probably most surprising at this point. Again, it's about the Johnnies and Joes for the most part, as you often reference, and I just don't think North Carolina has the Johnnies and Joes right now, at least. Here's the point I'm getting to: the original contract that he signed with the University of North Carolina, 5 years, $50 million. Okay, if they did want to move forward, if the university did want to move forward from Belichick right in this time frame right here, his buyout would be just north of $20 million to send him down the road. So, if you're North Carolina, where are you at on this one?
Gosh, they may be getting some funds put together
Yeah,
for it. I mean,
yeah,
there's there's been some rumblings,
yes,
and I think with I think anybody that looks at that situation with a clear mind knows that he probably took that program to set his son up. Now, his son is his defensive coordinator, and um, I think he was going to give him enough time and give them both enough time to kind of get the program in the spot where they felt like, or he felt like he could turn it over, because basically he's the one that makes that call. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? So, um, but I think those plans have backfired on everybody. I
yeah,
think the expectations, number one, were way too high on what he could do, um, to try to turn around a program that was pretty well down the dumps when he took it over this quickly. Just to be fair to him, but we all know that North Carolina can be pretty rough on its coaches, especially with football and the money that they pour into that program. Um, it will be interesting to see. There's money there to buy him out. There's going to be people that will, if they want to, they'll get the money put together. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, especially if they continue on the current projection or lack
right,
thereof that
right.
that they're on. So, gosh, I bet they're I bet they're going around door to door with their money cups in hand, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah. It is a really intriguing situation. And you brought up the point that I probably hadn't given enough credence to, and that was, hey, yeah, Bill was probably setting Son up
Right.
in the whole scheme of things, and so that further complicates it. Instead of making it easier, I think that's even more complicated because um, whether we want to admit it or not, I mean, the Belichick name will could generate some recruits down the road. I mean, it may not be right now, but NIL money and that name recognition, and like, there's a chance. So if you get rid of dad, you have to figure the whole staff's gone or most of it. And if your last name's Belichick, you're probably gone for sure. So it's super complicated. I wouldn't want to be the folks at North Carolina trying to make those decisions at all. So it will be interesting to watch. Another thing I dug into a little bit over the last couple of days was the NFL power rankings. And this is according to the USA Today. I don't know. I don't know what they use to determine this. They may sit around the water cooler or over a cup of Starbucks or something and just throw these out randomly for all I know. Anyway, power rankings according to USA Today, and this is for the NFL. And it is not by conference. It is just ranking all teams from top to bottom. They have Detroit as the number one ranked team in the NFL. I perhaps was a little surprised by that.
Yeah, definitely.
2 and 3, Buffalo and Philadelphia. I think we probably see that. Team number 4, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's an interesting one. I'm going to bring you back to Tampa Bay later on here in our show with some tough questions. Then the next 10 went in this order: Green Bay, Jacksonville. You wonder if they wouldn't have beat the Chiefs this last week where they would be, but the 49ers, the Rams. At number 9 is Indianapolis. I'm going to touch on them in just a second. Number 10 is Denver. Okay. You asked me off air about Indianapolis, and I told you they were number 9, and here's why. They have the best point differential in the National Football League. They were at plus 74 point differential. I would have never guessed that. I'm going to throw that your way, but I knew they were winning some games and being competitive, but I would have never guessed that.
Well, I think 37 of those, what did you say, 74?
74.
Yeah, was from this past weekend against Las Vegas. So half their points came out.
There's half of it. Yeah.
Right. But they've been surprising people, and that's probably about right. There's a few head scratchers, above that in my opinion. But here's what's crazy. I don't think there's any real clear picture. The waters are pretty muddied right now as far as a pecking order in the NFL. And just about the time you think a team is going to start making their way up toward that top. Take Kansas City, for example. They beat a Baltimore team that had very high expectations this year, like a tom-tom at their place a week ago, and then end up losing against Jacksonville the following week and had a losing record. So, it's this is going to be an interesting year. If I'm not mistaken, there is no longer an undefeated team in the NFL. Buffalo got beat Sunday. Sunday night, and then the Eagles got beat by Denver. So I'm pretty sure everybody has a blemished record, and you normally don't see that this early in the year.
Yeah, I agree. And so and you sort of took it there, but the point I was sort of heading towards is I was thinking about the AFC just because we're in Kansas City territory, we're Chiefs fans and all those kinds of things. I was thinking about the AFC. In my opinion, I don't know. I don't know if they're good enough to win the Super Bowl outside of Buffalo. I mean, am I missing something there? I mean, do you see that the same way? And hey, Chiefs fans, go easy on me. I think the Chiefs could get there. But I think if it were today, I don't think any AFC team outside of Buffalo would have a chance to compete. I'm going to throw that your way.
Yeah, I agree. Buffalo, to me, is heads above the other teams in the AFC. The NFC is where the dogfight's going to
Yeah.
take place. I mean, there's some, as far as teams this year, hey, there are some dudes on
Yeah.
that side of the ledger, and some teams that could really make a shot and have an argument for being favorites to go to the Super Bowl. So it's a lot of football left to be played. You never know how injuries are going to affect things, trades. That a lot of times the trade deadline is not quite as huge as it is in other sports.
Sure.
Baseball, obviously, that can make or break a season. Trade
Right.
deadline. Basketball to a certain extent, but in professional football, it you may gain a decent receiver or a spot running back or
Outside rusher sometimes they'll get
exactly. Yeah, I was going to say
yeah.
a pass rusher, something along those lines that can change your team. But there's a lot to be played out, and I think the AFC West is a lot better than what we thought coming in.
Yeah.
And generally that's where, outside of Buffalo, that's kind of, and Baltimore, that's kind of been where,
Yeah.
the Chiefs have had that road. So it'll be interesting to see how things play out.
Yeah. I'm going to close this little portion of our show with this. Hey, and I did a lot of research on this. I applied all the metrics that I could find. Like I went to a lot of work on this one. The Chiefs are winless since Taylor Swift's album dropped. Something to think about.
The Hex.
Moving on. We're going to move to our next segment. It's called Hold 'em or Fold 'em. In this segment, I'm going to give Darren 3 different scenarios or teams, and he's going to have to tell me whether he would hold them or fold them. Okay. And I try to get creative every week and maybe even go a little bit outside the box. So I've tried to do that this week. The first one I'm going to start with, and I referenced them earlier, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay. I'll fill you in on the information, then you can tell me whether you're going to hold them or fold them. They are 4-1. Their only loss is to the Eagles, who is also a 1-loss team. Their next 3, the 49ers, Detroit at Ford Field in Detroit, and then New Orleans. Their schedule for the season includes the 3 following teams. They play the Eagles, which they've already played. They play the Bills, and they play the Lions. So their schedules, they're playing some people. So as it relates to, let's say, a Super Bowl run, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, do you hold them or do you fold them based on what you know right now?
I'm fold them.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is the couple of times that I've been able to watch them play, they've won on a last second field goal, and they're kind of living right on the edge. I really do like the makeup of their team. I just think that whole side of the ledger is just too daggum tough. There are too many other teams that, will they get to playoffs? Yeah, I think they will. They could possibly, with their division, they could possibly end up with a first round bye.
Agree. Agree.
The way, depending on how things work out. But I just don't see them making that run. They may get hot at the right time and get to the divisional championship, but I think that would be probably top. So as far as making a run to Super Bowl, I'm folding. What about you?
Got it. I think for the same reasons, I would probably fold them. I would fold them. I think the Chiefs are really the team, possibly the Bills. I think they're the team that can week in, week out, win in the last moments because they kind of do that. That's kind of who they are.
Yeah.
I think other teams that do that too often it'll eventually get them. I think, and hey, I think Baker Mayfield's great, and I think he's capable of leading comeback wins. Like, it's not a knock on Baker. I mean, this guy has literally made himself a really good NFL quarterback. And you know it from coaching, it's hard to survive playoff runs and so on when you're always having to win at the last minute. So I fold him probably more for that reason.
Yeah.
I think if they start getting some convincing wins and they start week after week just beating some people pretty soundly, then I might have a tendency to change my mind. So that's kind of where I'm at on the Buccaneers. I think both have them as a fold. Second scenario, Ohio State football, number one in the country, playing really well. Here's where I'm going to go with that. I'm going to ask you whether you're going to hold them or fold them to win it all. So I'm not asking you just to hold them as a team or fold them as a team. I'm talking in terms of winning a national championship. I think Oregon, Miami, I think 2 or 3 of those like that are certainly in the mix. But what do you think? Ohio State just to win it all? Are you going to hold
Pretty
them?
much Ohio State against the field. That's what
Yeah,
you're saying. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna fold them. There's too
Really?
many other good teams. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
there's too many other good teams out there that, given the right set of circumstances, and you're you're one quarterback knee away from being
Yeah.
mediocre at best. And there's just a lot of different things that can factor in between now and bowl playoff time, that if I had to place a bet on it, I would take the field. So I'm folding on Ohio State.
Gotcha. My third scenario is a little bit similar, except I'm going to turn it the other way. So we're going to talk about the Los Angeles Dodgers. Okay, you and I have talked often. Their starting pitching is out of sight good. Like, it is on a different level than anybody else. Their lineup, top to bottom, is nails. If they had any weakness at all, I mean, you would probably say their back end bullpen perhaps is a little vulnerable. Perhaps. Okay. So my question is anybody, the field, as you said, is there anybody out there that you would hold that could beat the Dodgers?
No.
Yeah.
And simply for the reasons that you've listed, and it's October, and Kike Hernandez is playing.
He's the
I don't
Reggie
know.
Jackson of this.
Yes, he is Mr. October right there.
Yeah.
Our new age Mr. October.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy is incredible. He can probably hit his weight during the season and then come out in October and hit 400 and have several RBIs and lead the team. So
Yeah.
no, I'm as much as it pains me to say this,
Yeah.
I think it's the Dodgers to lose, World Series to lose. Pitching alone.
Yeah.
But their bats are starting to get hot.
Yeah.
They're playing with a swagger right now that they're playing with a purpose. So, gosh, they're going to be a tough out.
Yeah. Their pitching staff, to me, is just, hey, those guys are going to go 7, right? And that just leaves you, as the opposing team, you have 6 outs really.
Yep.
At the back end of a game to try to put something together to beat them. And by then the Dodgers scored 6 or
Exactly.
whatever it is. And so, like, you're just not going to score 6 runs over your 6 outs. I mean, it
Right.
just doesn't work that way. Blake Snell, he's unbelievable. Like, he is on a staff full of aces. Like he's the guy, right? And they've got aces everywhere you look in that rotation. So,
I mean, who do you pitch third game? Otani or Yamamoto?
Yeah.
I mean, decisions,
Right. Must be tough, right?
Right. Flip a coin and you're good.
Yeah. And I'm rooting for the Reds, and I'm just hoping they don't call me out of the bullpen or something like that. I mean, that's kind of where we're at half the time. So, anyway, well, good stuff on the hold 'em, fold 'em. Appreciate you playing along on that. Always enjoy that segment.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna. I think I'm going to close this here tonight, but I'm going to turn it over to you to reach out with a little contact information to our viewers. Why don't you tell the people where they can find out more about us or get in touch with us if they'd like?
You bet. Find Eric on X at capital D, small e, capital R, small o, underscore on deck. The O and the N are capitalized. You can also follow us at Missouri Sports Network at Missouri_sports. Also, give us a follow, a like on Facebook and YouTube.
Love it. Love it. Well, before I get off here, hey, go Cubs. And I'm with you. Let's find somebody that can beat the Dodgers. Maybe it's the Cubs time. What do you think?
No, it's not.
It's not. Okay. Well, so much for that.
Hey, you were talking about the Cubs are going to have to go into the stands to find their starting pitcher tomorrow. So I'm just glad to see tomorrow, buddy.
Yeah. Well, keep your phone close. They may need you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, viewers, thanks for joining us. It's been great. Please reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Any stories or feedback. Heck, we'd even love to interview somebody from the outside that want to talk a little sports with us. So thanks for joining us. We appreciate our sponsors and the people that support us and give us an opportunity to do this. So for Darren Archer, I am Eric DeRosset. I am signing off of On Deck with DeRo and Arch. Thanks for joining us.
This has been a presentation of the Missouri Sports Network. Thank you for tuning in.